I just not want to touch my bike again. It's pretty brutal.
I hate Paris-Roubaix because I've had some bad luck at really inopportune moments in that race.
It's hard and it's pain and you die 20 times in a day, but when you win, it's beautiful.
The love affair with the most epic one-day classic commences next on Versus. Beautiful spring Saturday in Compiègne yesterday as the riders signed in for the 107th running of the Queen of the Classics from Paris to Roubaix. The delighted faces here of the spectators who are in anticipation of what Sunday may bring as the riders go out onto the cobbled roads of northern France. Yes, happy Easter everybody and welcome to Cyclism Sundays. We're in Roubaix. I'm Phil Liggett. This is Paul Sherwen. And yes, it's the Queen of the Classics today. There's a big air of anticipation and actually it's a very nice day here in France. Paul, you once finished third in the amateur version of Paris-Roubaix. Why is it the riders have this love-hate relationship with it?
Well, I think really it's because it's a crazy race. It's a race that probably should be in a museum. It's a race that goes back over many, many eras. A rider who wants to finish this bike race has to fight back from many occasions to get over his crashes, to get over his incidents and keep himself in the race. I think Fabian Cancellara summed it up perfectly, Phil, when he said, when you get into Paris-Roubaix, you're actually not racing against your adversaries. You're racing against the cobblestones and you're racing against yourself.
I think that's the secret, isn't it? Well, there are 187 riders on the road today and they're facing up to those cobble sections. We call it the hell of the north of France. They are 31 miles of them and it is this section which makes up the race. In all, there are 27 sectors, aren't there, Paul? But there are some harder than others.
There certainly are. They're rated in stars at Paris-Roubaix from 1 star to 5 stars. Now, a 5-star rated section of cobblestones is rated that way because of its length and its severity. I have to say some of my favourite cobbles and the cobbles that have been given 5-star rating this year are the famous Trouet d'Arenberg, the Forest of Arenberg, 2.5 kilometres long. Mont-Saint-Pével with 10 sections of cobblestones to go is horrendous at 3 kilometres in length. And of course the very famous one at the end, Le Carrefour de l'Arbre, or the Pavé de l'Arbre as we call it in cycling jargon, that is 2.4 kilometres long. And if you're strong at that point in the race, Phil, you can actually ride a bike rider off your back wheel.
And slowly but surely over these cobble roads, the riders inch their way to the velodrome here in Roubaix. Now, there are, of course, the outstanding favourites, but you know there are so many people can win. But let's talk about two of the favourites today. Tom Boonen is the man who's won it twice. He knows how to win this race. He is on good form. The other favourite, Paul, is George Hincapie.
I think he's everybody's favourite. I think everyone wants George Hincapie to win. He's tried so hard for many years, and I think this time he's got everything just right. He's got a good, strong team on his side. The legs are there, and he's coming into Paris-Roubaix super motivated. Finally, it could be his.
Well, we'd all love that to be the case. Well, yesterday in the town of Compiègne, Paul was there. He spoke to both Tom and to George.
Tom, are you feeling a little bit of pressure because you weren't able to win the Tour of Flanders last week, and this Paris-Roubaix is looking to try and make your third victory?
Yeah, it's pressure's always there, eh? Always in this period of the year. So it's not more or less than the other races. The only difference is with last year. It's not a real difference. Is that I did a few good results in the races that were the past races. So I'm really confident that I will be there tomorrow and maybe be a key factor to decide who wins the race, and hopefully it will be me.
Is it a little bit frustrating to see the attitude of some riders, like maybe Pozzato last week, who based their race just on you?
frustrating is not the right word. It's sport, and some people you have tactics in the race, and sometimes the tactics works and sometimes they don't work, and it's normal that they try to focus at someone who is already done really good in certain races.
Well, George, first of all, we saw your crash last week in the Tour of Flanders. How is everything? Have you got over those injuries?
Yeah, I'm over them. It was a tough break, 200 meters from the line, but I feel good now. Fortunately, I didn't get hurt. I landed on top of a pile of riders, but I'm ready to go.
You've always said that to win Paris-Roubaix, you need a very strong team around you. How do you rate Team High Road Columbia this year for the attempt to get the title?
Team's super strong. I mean, you saw Eddie win on Wednesday, and we got Bergard and Eisel. He's feeling a lot better from his crashes. And Michael Berry's back. He helped me last time when I got second place here, so I'm excited that he's back on the team. We really got a complete roster, and I think we're definitely ready for tomorrow.
Well, there are other riders, of course, who can win. What about Stein de Volder, who won the Tour of Flanders so well last week? And he is a teammate of Tom Bonen. Further down, Fabian Cancellara. He's back from sickness, might be back on the winner's podium. And there's Martin Mascant, fourth at the first attempt last year and fourth last weekend as well in the Tour of Flanders.
Don't discount Team Cervelo because they are a very tough squad. Thor Hushoff has made no bones about the fact that he wants to win Paris-Roubaix this year. His best previous finish is only 9th. He can count on his teammate as well, Heinrich Hausler, second last weekend in the Tour of Flanders and, of course, second in Milan-San Remo. And the man who followed Tom Bonen all over the Flandrian roads was Pippo Pozzato. He, too, would like to win the Queen of the Classics.
Well, before we join the live action, we haven't missed too much, and indeed there hasn't been too many crashes either. Just this one here by Massimiliano Mori, but he's up and running again. There are the list of riders for you. 101 kilometres to go here. We're on sector 18 of the cobblestones of 27 sectors. We're counting down, remember. And this breakaway has been away for much of the race today. They've built a lead of over 4 minutes. It's back now to just inside 3. Latest time check, 2:55. In this breakaway is Steve Kotzer of the Garmin Slipstream. There's also a couple of riders from the Antipodes with Greg Henderson and Wesley Sulzberger. And none of the big favourites have made a move yet, but they're not allowing this break to go now. They're almost bringing it back into touching distance before they enter the Forest of Arenberg.
Well, this is section number 18 to go. The Forest of Arenberg is 17 to go. It's a long section, this section at Haveluy to Wallers, 2.5 kilometres in length. A 4-star rating, which means it's almost one of the most difficult sections of cobblestones that the riders face up to. And it was interesting to note that, in fact, it was Kurt Atle Arvesen, the Norwegian national champion, who's come to the front to pace Fabian Cancellara. Maybe Cancellara, Phil, has been playing a very clever game over the last couple of months when he's been recovering from illness and injury.
Well, it looks like we're going to have these 10 leaders getting themselves onto the straight in Arenberg with a lead of about 2.5 minutes. This is Alfredo about to be swept up by the peloton. He was with the leaders. He's on his way back now as we race along sector 18.
Just 100 kilometres left to go to the finish. These two sections now are going to be very important in setting up the final strategy of the race, because this is the race, part of the race where I've always said, and I will continue to say, forms the race. You don't win Paris-Roubaix here, but a lot of bike riders very often in the past have lost all chances.
Well, Quick Step trying to get to the front here now. Also, we've got Saxo Bank riders up here. Fabian Cancellara, by the way, is not far away from the front. I think he's looking for the perfect entry into Arenberg. But any rider who's in with a chance now has got to be in the first 20 men. Too many things go wrong when they get further down than that.
I had Fabian Cancellara in about 3rd or 4th position at the front end of that line. They're going into a block headwind, but you get a chance here to see, Phil, how the main field is all of a sudden stretched out into a very long line, and too long maybe for David Boucher, number 181 there from Landbau Credit.
He was in front of our cameras earlier this week in Ghent-Wevelgem, Tour de Flanders, but he's not too happy here on the cobblestones of the Hell of the North. They're absolutely cramming this from side to side now. Very typical tactics. We're going back up towards the leaders here. No, this is Kurt Atle Arvesen, champion of Norway, going through.
I was just going to see, if you look at the bikes there, you can just see those little bubbles in the front forks and the little bubbles bubble in the back fork. That is the bike that's been designed by Specialized specifically for this one bike race only for Paris-Roubaix. And the idea is that it absorbs all of the bouncing of the cobblestones and gives the bike rider a slightly more comfortable ride.
Just taking a look there, Team Columbia moving their men forward as well. They've got the ammunition that could take out this race with Hincapie, perhaps even Boysenhagen again. Meanwhile, back at the race here, this is Ricci from France at Lambac. Oh, a massive pile up here. Somebody has touched the wheel, and all of a sudden the field is down.
Well, this is why you ride at the front, Phil. This is why you battle leading up to the cobblestone sections to be in the first 10 or 15 places. Over on the right-hand side, there's
Tony Cruz on the left here, Paul. The American guy is down. This is McKissick, another USA rider. 2 Americans here in trouble.
Hans Decker's over there as well for Garmin Slipstream, just getting himself back onto his machine. This is what Paris-Roubaix is all about. Stay at the front and stay out of difficulty.
This is Tom Lisa here, and he looks a little bit winded by that one. Case Depon have lost a rider down. That's Rojas. One of their top finishers has gone down as well. They've got to try and get themselves back in order here. Team cars are blocked.
AG2R Sebastian Inno went down very hard over on the right-hand side. We're picking our way through. This is Hans Decker's for Garmin Slipstream. He went down very hard. Another guy's just gone over. This section of cobblestones, Phil, started off nice and calm with no panic at all, but all of a sudden you might just have noticed a little bit of mud over to the right-hand side, a little bit of mud over to the left-hand side, and all of a sudden it's chaos.
And that was a silenced Lotto rider too. I think it was Roy Sentiens who was just also off the back. Meanwhile, the tempo will be held at the front here now. These riders will know that there's been a fall. They won't know who's been involved.
Well, they didn't panic. Look how many black and white jerseys there are at the front of Team Saxo Bank. That is the team of Fabian Cancellara, the team of Bjarne Riis, who, by the way, has made the journey down here from Denmark, Phil, this afternoon to be in the team car. And I wonder if that's trying to tell us something.
Well, we know that their man for this race was to be Stuart O'Grady, the Australian. Unfortunately, crashed and is now recovering. He's won it before, the only Australian ever to win this race. And, oh, boy, he'd be watching these pictures and wishing he was part of this scene. It's his race for sure. Just going past there, Floris Gusnen, a Dutchman on the Skill Shimano, as our motorbike camera starts to cut its way back up towards the front of the bunch.
Well, that's the first little selection there. Another man at the back, Aurélien Claire there, a great sprinter on Team AG2R. That is the length of the main field. The hammer now, Phil, before we go to the Forest of Arenberg, has suddenly come down.
Well, it's happened, but perhaps a little bit earlier than we anticipated. We are now leaving section 18, and so the next stop for the men now will be the forest itself. So another section done, but 17 more cobble sectors are still to come, including the most famous of all, the Forest of Arenberg, and that's next.
Cyclism Sunday's coverage of Paris-Roubaix on Versus is brought to you by Snickers. Ride the 4 horses of the Satisfacalypse.
Roundup Extended Control does 2 jobs at once. 1. Kills weeds to the root. 2. Forms a barrier, preventing new ones for up to 4 months. Roundup Extended Control.
We know the spirit of small business owners is alive and well, but we also know you could use a little help. Intuit QuickBooks software can track every dollar in and out of your business, so you can keep an eye on the bottom line. Try QuickBooks Simple Start for free at QuickBooks.com.
We're off. Woo! Something smells funny, and it ain't the ponies. Floppy hats at 10 o'clock. Closest to the track, but farthest from reality. Excuse me, sir. Pardon me, ma'am. Good, honest beer at a tasty price is neck and neck with hoity-toity atmosphere. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. And y'all gonna find out today, because you're about to lose this highlight. Woo! Your head almost hit me in my face. We want to hand this out to the people really watching the race. It's a liberating landslide blowout victory for common sense.
See you tomorrow, Steve.
Tony Stewart. Thank you, Tony.
Tony?
Armor All wash, wipes, and tire shines. Go ahead, stare. And to clean your car while you shine, try Armor All Protectant.
Why toss out your money? Switch over to the Everything Data Family Plan from Sprint and save $360 a year over comparable AT&T and Verizon plans. Switch to America's most dependable 3G network.
Welcome back as we approach the brutal cobble section known as the Arlenberg Forest. Many of you at home might be wondering about the bikes the riders use to tackle these rough roads. Well, Specialized have designed a bike just for this occasion. Here's more.
Hi, my name's Nick Sims with Specialized Bicycles, and I'm here today with Tom Bonen's 2009 Roubaix. Basically, this is the bike that produced the win last year, and it has some of the key features that you'll find on any Roubaix bike that you can get in a Specialized dealer. Things that make this the lightest and stiffest bike out there. Also ideal for this type of racing. The Zertz damping in the rear end. Also you'll find them in the forks. Those will help take the edge off the cobblestones to keep the power going. Also the big down tube. And again, the oversized chainstays all help for the sprinting power that Tom Bonen can put on this bike. And when it comes to the velodrome at the end of the day, we'll hope that the lightest and stiffest bike out there will accelerate him to the line. So this is the 2009 S-Works Roubaix, ridden by Tom Bonen.
Well, Paul, they must be doing something right because Tom Bonen won the race last year on that Roubaix bike with Specialized design.
Yeah, Tom Bonen, I think, like a lot of teams, has spent a lot of time and money making sure that the material he's got for our Paris-Roubaix is the best that there is available.
So as we look now at the peloton over the top of the old mine head there, the peloton is speeding towards the entry into the forest of Arlenberg. The time gap to the leaders of 10 is 2:40. Martin Mascant, the unlucky rider there, who had that crash, is still, as far as we know, chasing to come back with two teammates being paced back at the moment by Fishkorn and Michael Friedman, the two Americans trying to put him back into a position here.
The Forest of Arlenberg, the Trouet of Arlenberg, 2.4 kilometers in length, the 17th section to go before the finish. 5-star rating. This is probably the scariest section of cobblestones of the whole of the race. All of these riders fear the Forest of Arlenberg so much that they know its history and the way it has formed the race over many, many years. For the moment, everybody nice and safely onto it.
Riding down dead center here, it's probably the best place to go. And keep an eye out because you might see them go before we do here as we watch them, and they're in a perfect straight line. It's all about speed now. Our cameras foreshortening the distance here. The crowds are watching everything. In the distance there is the huge pack now. The riders at the end, somebody's shot off into the crowd there. You see the crowd, the whole field has gone off into the crowd there on the right.
There's a number of riders gone down. This is the damp part in the middle of the course. Somebody went straight across the road as if he lost complete and utter control and into the crowds, and that caused a certain amount of chaos, but it's not caused any chaos for Quick-Step, who are sitting on the front end of the main field. It's when you're under pressure. This is the damage. This is what's happening behind, and this is actually going to be pretty bad, Phil.
This is Beto in trouble again. Now, where is Mascant? He was coming up, but he'll have been delayed by this. This is the big problem. He comes onto the back of the field to find he's in trouble again. There's the race director's car. Stop now as they try to sort the riders out here. One rider virtually undressed there, and it looked to me as though it was Hayden Royston, the Kiwi on the Cervelo team, who's had quite a fall there. His shorts almost ripped off him.
I think Vicente Reigns went down there as well from Team Columbia High Road very dramatically. Again, this crash happened halfway down the main field. It's difficult from this position to try and see who is looking comfortable. That, though, I recognise the position of Tom Bonen right in the middle in his Quick-Step jersey. This is the Tête de la Course, the survivors of the 10-man breakaway, which is splitting up a fraction, but I don't think they've lost anybody. Wesley Sultan Salzburger field, still comfortably on the back of the group.
As they leave the Forest of Arenberg, a bit of smooth road, but not for very long now as they race towards Honang. Now you see the importance of staying at the front of the race, because that crash happened in the pack about dead centre, and Bonen should be okay. I think Hincapie's up here too.
That's Hincapie in fifth wheel there in the yellow jersey, and you can see the chaos that has happened in the Forest of Arenberg. It really has been the first sorting out. As I've always said over many years, and I know people get a bit bored with me saying it, Phil, this is where you can lose Paris-Roubaix. This is where you have to ride at the front end of the pack.
And still the pressure is on here. The gap is down slightly. They came in 2:40 behind. They're going to go out at 2:05 behind the leaders. But it's the crash which has done the damage right now. We don't know who's gone just yet, but we'll work it out. But certainly we've got some strong riders driving now at the front. There's confirmation, 2:05.
A lot of black jerseys there. That's Johan van Summeren trying to stay in contact, but the black jerseys indicate that Team Cervelo test team have got a lot of riders in this group, and here is one of their men coming to the front here.
Well, as they continue to take us towards the end of the Forest of Arenberg, they've got 91 kilometres left to ride. There'll be no peace now, because the cobblestones fly at you very frequently, and your pressure must stay on.
Well, there's Hincapie riding in second position, third position there. I presume that is Juan Antonio Fletcher just slightly in front of him. But the Forest of Arenberg once again has said why it is such a reputable climb, a reputable section of cobblestones that the first part of the main field now are slowly starting to come off.
Well, the next section of cobblestones are mere 3 stars, but they'll be bad enough now as the riders try to repair the damage here. It looks like Hausler to me. It is, I think, Hausler who's here taking the bottle and reassessing the situation.
Well, he said he didn't feel that he had the legs here this afternoon, but he's got over the first obstacle of the race as Heinrich Hausler there, wearing number 152, is in the first selection of the front end of the main field.
Yes, and now he's content to slow down, see who joins him, and start mixing at the front. He won't slip too far down this group, because that would be too dangerous.
Leif Hoster is in the group. That's Fabian Cancellara just looking over his shoulder, trying to sum up what's going on. That's George Hincapie in the yellow. Hincapie too has passed the first selection of this race.
Well, George has his uncanny habit of knowing where to be and when to do it. He loves this event, and he's placed himself perfectly. I think Hausler's dropped back, Paul, to check on the whereabouts of Thor Hushoff and then get back into the action.
Well, there's Cancellara. He wants to see which of the men in black have managed to get themselves into this group. There's a lot of riders from Cervelo test team, but also for me, maybe one of the most dangerous men a little bit later on is going to be Fabian Cancellara, number 1, sitting at the back of the group, feeling quite comfortable now because he's got through the first test, is Tom Bonen.
Last year's winner and a 2-time winner of this event. The record is 4 wins, but Tom has a chance of getting 3 this time, and he becoming one of only 6 riders to have won this race on 3 occasions. So the first battle is over. The Forest is behind the riders now, and so far the big stars have read it right.
Well, everything is in its place, and I can't stop the smile on my face, 'cause I'm happy in this place. 1, 2, 3, so smile, smile on my friends. You're in a happy place, so smile, smile on my friends. Come on, smile, smile on my friends.
Make your happy happen at sandiego.org.
It happens to every guy. While you sleep, your skin dehydrates. Prepare to defeat dry skin with Gillette Dry Skin Hydrator and Body Wash. It combines a deep cleaning body wash with 3 times the hydrators for a powerful defense against dry skin. You'll step out of the shower feeling like you can take on the world. Gillette 2-in-1 Dry Skin Hydrator and Body Wash. Unleash the power of your shower.
It's about time someone made it easy to spot the good guys. When you use a business with a new Super Guarantee at superpages.com or in the Verizon Yellow Pages, you'll get the job done right, or we'll make it right. It's designed to save you time. Look for it in the Verizon Yellow Pages and at superpages.com. The Super Guarantee from IDR Media. It's about time. Yours.
Want the secret shortcut to clean, shiny wheels and tires? Forget scrubbing and scouring. Introducing Eagle One's A to Z all-wheel and tire cleaner. Incredible results in one easy step. Spray and watch the thick foam penetrate brake dust and road grime from tires and rims. Then just rinse away. Black tires, shiny rims in one step. Protect that shine with new Eagle One Keep Clean Wheel. Look how Keep Clean Wheel makes water literally bounce right off this rim. Sticky honey is instantly repelled. Incredible. Keep Clean Wheel repels brake dust and road grime for up to 2 weeks. Call today. Order A to Z all-wheel and tire cleaner plus Keep Clean Wheel for only $19.95. Call now and we'll double the offer. But we're not done. We'll include Eagle One's longer-lasting tire shine gel spray, a free microfiber towel, a $15 cash savings coupon book, and you'll get this $50 value for only $19.95. Your order comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee. Call 1-800-313-4061 and
She notices when my skin gets rough.
Gold Bond Ultimate Softening Lotion. 7 moisturizers, vitamins, plus shea butter. Lock in moisture for soft, healthy skin.
Soft. Can your lotion do that?
Gold Bond Ultimate Softening.
This stuff really works.
Want big pants? I lost 3 times more weight.
Get new Dexatrim Max Complex 7. 7 powerful weight loss ingredients combined to block hunger and burn fat. For 80% of your weight loss. Dexatrim Complex 7.
This is weight loss.
I think it was the Sunday styles that brought us together.
I think it was the weekend review. Getting the times delivered for me, well, that's really the best part of the weekend. That's why I love the Weekender.
It's a Friday, Saturday, Sunday subscription that puts you in the center of the conversation.
So you call the 800 number and you save 50%.
50% off home delivery? Fantastic.
The best journalists in the world work for the Times, and there's no debating that.
So call now. Get the conversation going.
Get the Weekender for as low as $4.70 a week. Call 1-800-832-3658 and be part of a great conversation.
We're looking down at Sector 60 now. This is a massive 3.5 kilometres as the coming together of a chase group to the second group. George Hincapie is in the second group there as they now come back together on this section of cobblestones.
Well, Phil, we're looking at 16 sections of cobblestones to go. 3.7 kilometres long, this one, from Ornain to Amage. And it's really a very difficult section of cobblestones. For a moment ago, George Hincapie was completely isolated in the front split at the front end of the main field. Now he has got 3 teammates who have managed to scramble their way back into this race. So much are they decided here this afternoon that this could very well be George's day.
And you see, this is the benefit of having a team around you. They've gone straight to the front to control this race in favour of Hincapie. Take a little bit of pressure off him now and also show the rest of the race they're here.
And not to forget, of course, that in the leading group of 10 riders, George Hincapie has another teammate, the Kiwi rider, Greg Henderson, who is in that leading group of 10, who are still holding on to around about a 1.5-minute advantage.
Well, we also know that Tom Bonen has made it. So too has Stein de Volder. Leif Hoster is up here. Pozzato has also made the gap. There is still, in fact, I can't think of any of the outstanding favourites yet, Paul, who've made a slip, because Cancellara is here as well.
All of the big names there. We don't know the position at the moment of the Garmin Slipstream team leader, Martin Maskant, because he actually had a mechanical incident or a fall just leading into the forest of Arenberg. But Arenberg, Phil, was so much chaos, we don't have any idea where he is right now. But I would suspect that he hasn't yet managed to get himself into the main field.
I agree. Some 40 riders have rejoined here, maybe even 50. But Maskant went into the forest off the back of the group and had to pick his way through the carnage of that big crash we had. There's another little group coming back anyway. Maybe, and it looks like there's a Garmin rider in this group as well as they start to close in.
Well, there's another group, and looks like it's a Garmin Slipstream on the front there, doing a lot of pace, making that group a little bit further back. So I wonder if this is the group of Martin Maskant trying to reintegrate. Another Garmin, another high road rider there as well, trying to make the junction.
Massive group coming in here. This is all coming together.
Well, it looks as if it's all starting to regroup. This is Le Danois at the back here, number 65. It's a difficult time to make the junction, Phil, on this 3.7 kilometre section of cobblestones. Still sitting at the back there, Pedro Orillo, number 74, with Columbia High Road very happy now to dictate the pace making over the front end of the main field.
Well, just inside 80 kilometres or 50 miles to go, it looks as though the main pack of riders here has basically come back together again. But at what cost to some of the chases they've had to do? And now they're going to have to do it all again, because once we get to the next 5-star section, there's bound to be more problems.
Well, I have to say that Garmin Slipstream will be very happy with the presence, at least of their American rider in this leading group, because there he is, just over on the left-hand side. Every now and again, the Argyle jersey slipping through. That's Stephen Kodzeb doing a great ride for the team this afternoon, getting himself into this breakaway. But he will be more interested in knowing what is the position of their team leader, Martin Mascant, 4th in this race last year, 4th in Paris-Roubaix, in Tour of Flanders 1 week ago.
Well, we'll keep an eye out for him, but I can't believe he hasn't made the peloton now. It's such a big group which is reformed here under the charge of Team Columbia High Road. The women's department won the Women's World Cup race yesterday with Ina Teutenberg. They are having a tremendous season again, Columbia High Road.
Well, Ina Teutenberg winning the women's edition of the Tour of Flanders a week ago as well, certainly dominating the women's racing, as the men's team dominated the international circuit for the top professionals last year. 4 High Road Columbia riders on the front end of the main field. Gives us a chance, Phil, just to look back and see who is recovering in this bike race.
This High Road rider here, I think, is Boyson Hagen.
Yep,
it is Boyson Hagen, the winner midweek of Ghent-Wevelgem, his first big semi-classic victory, and he's riding those cobbles like an aged veteran right now.
Which is pretty impressive, Phil, when you bear in mind that he clocks in at 21 years of age. It really is quite phenomenal. He's going to be, I think, a star of the future.
Well, he's right up there, and he's trying to get through on the rough road to help his boys in yellow and white at the front of the race, because they're his teammates.
Well, still, they're only halfway through this section of cobbles. This is the 16th section to go to the finish, and it's one of the longest sections in the race this afternoon at 3.7 kilometres long.
It is, in fact, the longest, and it's not the smoothest by any means here. The boys are lucky they've got that little bit of mud sector, which is nice and dry to ride through on the right. Very fast pedaling here, but you've got to keep the eyes in the back of your head if somebody makes a mistake. Number 37, Chris Sutton, the Australian here, who's really doing well to be in this position right now.
Well, it's a very chaotic race, Paris-Roubaix, to cover, to try and figure out just who is where in an event like this. But Chris Sutton is certainly just about keeping himself in contact here as he weaves around the rider in front. He knows that he has to stay on the wheel of a rider. Once somebody lets the gap go in a race like Paris-Roubaix, it's very difficult to bridge that gap.
Well, he's been on the back end of a rider, letting the door open there, so Sutton moving on. He's had a win this year. He won the overall race at the Tour of Zeeland in Holland. So he's off to a good start. He finished 4th in the first big race of the year too, in the Tour of Qatar. So he's developing nicely now, because he's still under 24 years of age.
Marcus Burkhardt on the left-hand side there, leading Team Columbia High Road. And the Tête de la Course, the leading 10 riders now coming off the cobblestone section. That's Steve Kodzeb sitting on the back there for Garmin.
So one more section crossed off the list. Another American rider riding for Team Garmin is Steve Kodzeb. And we'll have more on him after the break.
I'm supposedly going to be doing one Grand Tour. Which one of the 3, I don't know, but doing one would be great. It would be my first one.
This is your weekend? You serious?
Why are you in my yard?
Don't you want to get out there? I got hotels everywhere. Hit the road. You can go rafting, bird watching, wine tasting.
Okay.
Oh, roller derby.
Sure.
Man, there's all sorts of super destinations. You just gotta go. I'll feed you free breakfast.
Head to Petty'sGarage.com to play a few games and win some super prizes.
What are you waiting for? All around the world, men with erectile dysfunction have asked their doctors about Cialis. Ask your doctor if a Cialis option is right for you. Because in addition to 36-hour Cialis, there's another dosing option. Cialis for daily use, a low-dose tablet you take every day, so you can be ready anytime the moment is right.
Tell your doctor about your medical condition and all medications, and ask if you're healthy enough for sexual activity. Don't take Cialis if you take nitrates for chest pain, as this may cause an unsafe drop in blood pressure. Don't drink alcohol in excess with Cialis. Side effects may include headache, upset stomach, delayed backache, or muscle ache. To avoid long-term injury, seek immediate medical help for an erection lasting more than 4 hours. If you have any sudden decrease or loss in hearing or vision, stop taking Cialis and call your doctor right away.
36-hour Cialis or Cialis for daily use. So when the moment is right, you can be ready.
And now we're back in the living room. And now, bedroom. Wow. And...
Most people avoid extremes. Others can't wait to experience them. Introducing the all-new Ranger XP and Sportsman XP. The most power, the best all-wheel drive, the best suspension. Extreme performance for the most extreme terrain. They're the hardest working, smoothest riding off-road vehicles ever. See the 2009 XPs at your local Polaris dealer or visit PolarisXPEvent.com.
Well, as we approach the next cobble section, one man in the breakaway today is Steve Kotzer. He's a very aggressive rider who really does fancy that one day he will produce something good in a cobble classic. I'm talking about Steve, and here's more on him.
I'm always thinking about my goals, and they're always changing. For 2009, it's going to be a big year for me. The team's gone pro tour, and hopefully this can be an injury-free season. But that does happen. It's just part of the sport. I mean, it's a sport where there's a lot of danger involved, and I think what makes a good cyclist is being able to come back and continue doing their job and continue being able to love the sport as much as they did before. It's definitely a challenge. I mean, I had a lot of post-traumatic stress from the head injury one, but since that, it's just made me a stronger cyclist. It's made me realize how much I love cycling, which has been a great thing for me because I love the sport so much, and it's a bummer when you can't race because of an injury. For now, my goals are pretty much, start off the season well, continue to get stronger for the classics, and then I'm supposedly going to be doing one Grand Tour. Which one of the three, I don't know, but doing one would be great. It would be my first one, so it's about time. I'm 23, going on 24 now, so it's definitely time to do a Grand Tour.
Well, there's the information on Steve. He's only 24 years of age. He stands at 5'11". He comes from Petaluma in California. His places yet are leaving a little bit to be desired, but he has youth on his side. He also has aggression. I think we'll know more about Steve in the seasons that lie ahead. 15 sectors, short, sharp and sweet, but this one is quite long at 2.4 kilometers now, and 1.5 miles of bouncing cobblestones.
3-star rating, so it's an average section of cobblestones. The most difficult ones are 5-star rated. This is the front end of the race. Still Greg Henderson up there making himself a useful ally, I think, later on in this race for Team Columbia High Road. And only one man has disappeared from this 11-man leading group at the start of the day, and that was the Frenchman on the same team as Wesley Salzberger, and his name was Johan Ofredo. We saw him getting picked up by the main field a little while back.
But the crack, Sam, there's a problem here. This is Hincapie. Now, what has he got? A back wheel puncture here, and just waiting for George Hincapie is Boysenhagen as well. Well, this is, again, a little slice of bad luck for George. He's wrestling with that wheel to get it out of the bike.
It's stuck in there with the rear derailleur. The mechanic is up alongside him. But as a great champion, just look how he's not panicking. He's waiting for it all to come back together, lets the mechanic do his job of work. He was very lucky that the team cars were very close up behind him.
Well, a back wheel puncture. He's got the tyre in now. Boysenhagen is waiting, a very valuable rider who came back. Don't forget, George could have been isolated here, but it's not as bad as that right now. George has got to get back. Now, this has all happened on Sector 15.
I don't think he will have too much of a problem getting back at this stage because he was in a compact group of riders. The team cars were very close behind him. And you see, looking at the main field here, Phil, they haven't put the hammer down on this section. They've had too much of a battle leading up to this. So I think we can relax a fraction for the United States and the big supporters of George Hincapie, because I put my neck on the line that very quickly Hincapie will be back in the pack.
I think you're right, because it's an unmanageable size group, this, and he's hit the right time of the race, if there is such a thing as the right time of the race.
If you're going to have any bad luck at all in a race like this, you've got to make sure that it's a time like this.
Sector 15, 2.4 kilometres of racing, a couple of 100 metres into it. Hincapie gets a flat tyre. Boysenhagen seemed to wait, but I haven't seen him drop back to pick him up just yet.
Well, I'm just looking back down through the team cars there. I can't see the yellow jersey of George Hincapie, but I wouldn't be surprised to see it coming up very rapidly. The pressure is not on at the front end of the main field here, Phil. And
how lucky is that?
He's very lucky to have a man like Boysenhagen alongside waiting for him to pace him back into the pack. If that was his only bad luck of the day, I think he would say thank you very much.
Well, he's had some bad luck too, and he's had some great luck in this event, let's face it, with the best results. But I think every time something happens to George, you can hear the oohs and the ahs go around the world. He's a very popular boy.
I have to say that this man, George Hincapie, wearing number 51, has actually got two teammates there alongside him waiting. The other one is Marcus Burkhardt, who I would have said is a pre-race favourite to try and get the victory here this afternoon. But he's decided, no, I'm going to go back. In fact, it looks like it's Bernard Eisel, I think.
Well, Eisel will be the obvious choice, but we don't quite know which ones of the boys are still in the race up here after the Forest of Orenburg. But there's no doubt that Boysenhagen is the other rider who's with him, the winner in midweek of Ghent-Wevelgem. And George was really a party to that, because he eased the field backwards and allowed Boysenhagen to break away and win the day. Maybe time to return the favour, perhaps. It's Liquigas setting the pace here now.
This is why Paris-Roubaix is such a special race. Everybody will have some bad luck out on the course, and what you have to do is get over that. Don't have it make a blow to your morale. Fight your way back into the event. Never give up. Never surrender. That's what it's all about, Paris-Roubaix. Courage.
Meanwhile, back at the front, as we see Martin Reinen set the pace up there now. Different ride to what he was earlier on the cobbles. These are still the breakaways. They're regrouping. There are 10 of them here. George Hincapie at the moment in a spot of bother, and the gap from peloton to the break is 1:32.
Say a big hello to Pizza Hut's Pan-Normous. It's our biggest pan pizza ever and our biggest deal ever. Now just $10.
Buddy, this thing's a monster. We are never gonna finish this.
The Pan-Normous, a pizza so big it never ends. And now it's our biggest deal ever, specially priced at just $10. That's right, a one-topping Pan-Normous is just $10. Choose real taste. Pizza Hut. Now you're eating.
Every fighter deals with fear. It starts before you even leave the locker room. In the tunnel, it gets worse. Your heart starts beating to the rhythm of the fans. It's a long walk to that cage. And once you get there, you realize you still have to face me. What do I fear? I'll let you know when I find it.
No Fear Energy.
Coming up on the best of Sports Soup 09, Shaq and Kobe, A-Rod, and a hippo dropping a deuce. It's gonna get messy. The best of Sports Soup on...
May I help you?
Hi, I need to start saving on car insurance.
Money a bit tight?
Yeah, I've had to cut back, sell some stuff, like his watch.
Ah, we can help you save, because we instantly compare your Progressive Direct rate with rates from other top companies. Watch this. Nice savings.
This means I can buy my watch back.
Oh, this watch?
Yeah.
Not for sale.
That's cold.
Making sure you get a great deal. Now that's Progressive. Call or click today.
Crank it up. The ultimate NASCAR pre-race party is only on Speed. NASCAR Race Day. Be there. You'll be in the middle of the action. Live with John Roberts, Jimmy Spencer, Kenny Wallace, and thousands of NASCAR's biggest fans. And get the inside track with live reports from Wendy Venturini.
Let's get to the stories at hand.
Don't miss NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot, all season long. NASCAR on Speed. Oh, yeah. Be there.
And that was a heavy fall, and it doesn't look at all good. George Hincapie is totally stunned.
I still need to win Paris-Roubaix. That's a huge goal in mine. That's something I dream about daily. I think about it all the time when I train. Well, last year, I mean, I had the best legs I've ever had in Paris-Roubaix. I felt awesome, but then I flatted at one point, which is not a big deal. I caught back up relatively easy and still felt great. Didn't lose much energy. 2 seconds later, I broke my wheel, and we had the unfortunate draw being car number 25. So I didn't get any help for a long time. I was way off the back, and by the time I was able to make it back to the first group, the breakaway had gone, and there was no chance of getting it back.
Well, George Hincapie there, Paul. I think not only the United States, but I reckon the rest of Europe would like to see him win this race.
They certainly will, because George, amongst all of the professional bike ride here is a very popular man, and I think a great ambassador to the sport. Section number 14 to go here. This is a long section of cobblestones, at 2.4 kilometers in length. It's a 3-star rated section of cobblestones, as we're looking here at the front end of the bike race, with 70 kilometers to go to the finish. And that looks like Servais Carnavon here, riding his 15th Paris-Roubaix here this afternoon. There is the American rider, and there's another crash at the back. These crashes are coming thick and fast here this afternoon, and that looks to me as if that's one of the riders from Case d'Epargne, and he went down extremely hard on the ground. I think that rider who went down there, in fact, was Emmanuel Erviti of Spain, and let's just see how that happened. It's right at the middle. You see these directional islands are very dangerous. He just clipped it, and a rider went straight over the top of him, and the race referee in the red car there has to get by and get himself back into this race. Kurt Atle Arvidsson on the front end of the main field again for Team Saxo Bank. They're starting to look like they're a very serious squad here this afternoon, and maybe Fabian Cancellara has come back into the fold.
Well, as we're on this section now, which is section 14, 70 kilometers left to ride, and this is now when the screw is beginning to turn even tighter.
Well, that's what it's all about. It's hammering your opponents all of the time, just slowly but surely weakening them, and hoping that you've got enough energy yourself left when it comes to the decisive cobblestone sections down towards the end. And those are usually the cobblestone sections of Mons-en-Pévèle, which is coming up fairly shortly, and of course then the very difficult Pavé, or the Carrefour de l'Arbre, which in itself 2.5 kilometers long, has got a slight incline, and I've seen many a rider crack on that one.
I must say, it's taking an interesting turn, this race now. There's an awful lot of riders still in contention here, and we're getting to the sections of Pavé now where very often the winning breaks have formed in Paris-Roubaix. So the riders who are feeling strong will try to push forth now. The gap is 1:38. They're not bringing back that breakaway anymore.
Well, George Hincapie and his teammates have just managed, Phil, to get themselves onto the back end, the tail end of the race convoy. So, yes, in a few moments, Hincapie will be back in the pack. But what a job of work number 53 did. Edvald Boasson-Hagen, winner just a couple of days ago of Ghent-Wevelgem. He's learning the hard way what it's like riding for a top team.
But he's done well. He really has repaid, George, there. A man that's won the semi-classic midweek, went back and has played a major part here in bringing Hincapie back into what he will see as his race, Hincapie. This is the one that he wants finally to try and win and become the first American to do so. You always get a little bit of bad luck. Let's hope that's it for the day for George now, because his mates have put him back in the race.
Well, I think if he was going to have any bad luck at all, that wasn't a bad place to have it. I don't think he's expended too much energy getting himself back into the race. But just look how precarious these sections are now, as Servais Carnavon here is using that little bit of experience he's had. Over 15 participations in this bike race, Phil. The last 14 that he's participated in, he has always finished. And bear in mind that he won one.
He did indeed, and Servais Carnavon attacking on sector 14 here from the leading group, remember. He's one of the 10 riders up front. The gap at 1:38. Well, this is an interesting move here by a man who's now 40 years of age, and you wouldn't know it, would you?
Well, he was brought into this team, Team Milram, to be a pilot fish for some of the younger riders. Well, today, the best way of being a pilot fish is to lead from the front, and that's exactly what he's doing. That is the main peloton, which is a large main peloton. And finally, George Hincapie has managed to make contact with the field again after a mechanical incident, which it took quite a long time to get changed.
Bona's teammate, Matteo Tassato, at the back of this group at the moment now. It's a few deep breaths for George, and he's got to move rapidly forward here, because danger is just a wheel length ahead on the cobblestones.
Well, Tossato sitting at the back of this group, but he knows he has to stay in contact with this group for as long as possible. Laying down the cards on the table now, though, are Team Saxo Bank. This is them on the front in the white and blue jerseys with the black shorts. The man with a different coloured jersey there is Kurt Atle Arvesen, the Norwegian national champion and a winner of a stage of the Tour de France 12 months ago.
But the same team, and now they are really beginning to tap out the rhythm here, which indicates to me, Paul, that Fabian Cancellara is on a good day.
Yes, Bradley Wiggins sitting at the back of the group for Garmin Slipstream, and I wonder what the position is of Martin Maskant. It's so difficult in a race like Paris-Roubaix because there are so many things going on at the front of the race, the back of the race, in the middle of the race, that it's always difficult to pick up just exactly who is sitting where.
There aren't too many Garmin Slipstream down there. I can't see any at the moment. At the head of the peloton, the Saxo Bank boys in that black-white jersey, black stripes, riding forward. They've got a lot of riders in this group right now, which is all's well for Fabian Cancellara.
Well, Phil, they have 7 men in the first 7 places of the main field, and they also have a man in the leading group of 10 up the road. So I would have to say this afternoon, Saxo Bank have reported themselves present and correct.
8 man in a team, don't forget. 67 kilometers to go, and that breakaway still hangs in with a minute 40 advantage.
I'll get it. Thanks.
Light, fluffy Three Musketeers has 45% less fat. Enjoy it shamelessly. Also available in mint.
Roundup Extended Control does 2 jobs at once. 1. Kills weeds to the root. 2. Forms a barrier, preventing new ones for up to 4 months. Roundup Extended Control.
See, the high life is about celebrating, not separating. We coming for your VIPs, and we ain't the paparazzi. We looking for the little fuzzy rope. How you doing? Yeah, we're not on that. I can guarantee that. Excuse us. Thank you so much. Paying extra money so other people can't sit next to you. You know where I come from. We party together with a good, honest beer at a tasty price. Fuzzy rope to make y'all feel more important. Common sense ain't on the guest list. These people know how to do it. That's it. Hey!
Plastic water bottles could be poisoning you and your family. Did you know they can leach dangerous chemicals into the water you drink? Especially when left in a warm car, a warehouse, or worse, reused. Some even release synthetic estrogen linked to breast and prostate cancer. Why risk your family's health?
Introducing Eco Canteen, the healthy and convenient way to carry water wherever you go. Simply fill it from your sink or water filter. Eco Canteen is reusable and made of high-quality food-grade stainless steel. Recommended by experts as the safe alternative to plastic and aluminum.
Did you know that 40% of bottled water comes from city tap? Some brands don't even filter it. So why pay a fortune for something you can get for free?
Your Eco Canteen can replace this much water over its lifetime, saving you thousands of dollars. Disposable bottles last 700 years. They're taking over our landfills. Recycling isn't much better. Often melting plastics release dangerous toxins.
With Eco Canteen, you're making a difference. So stop lugging those heavy cases and stop drinking plastic toxins. Eco Canteen is safe, and at 26 ounces, you'll find that you drink more water, critical for more energy, better health, and mental focus.
Eco Canteen is lightweight with a wide opening that lets you add ice cubes or your favorite beverage. It easily fits in your car's cup holder, and it's dishwasher safe. You'll use Eco Canteen every day at work, while driving, on walks, weekend outings, or the gym. Now you can even protect your children who are at the greatest risk. Ask about new kid sizes. A $20 value. Order now for only $9.99. You even get an insulated tote free. Just pay processing. Keeps your water cold throughout the entire day. So go ahead, save money, save the environment, and protect your family's health. Here's how to order.
Call 1-800-308-5740. Don't put this off. Write this number down now and call 1-800-308-5740 or visit ecocanteen.com. That's 1-800-308-5740. Call now.
The epic cycle continues on Versus. On April 26th at 3 Eastern, it's 2 of the great Ardennes classics. The world's best cyclists will tackle Liège-Bastogne-Liège and the Flèche Wallonne. And on May the 3rd at 5 Eastern, the Tour Romandie rolls with a recap of the first 5 stages, and that will be followed by full coverage of the final stage. From time trials to mountain finishes, this race is always an early indicator as to who will challenge in the July Tour de France. The epic cycle right here on Versus. Well, looking now at the coming together of the lead chase group in a terrific piece of pacemaking, and now Tom Bonen and Fabian Cancellara are catching the leaders at 61 kilometres to go to the finish. It's the first time that anybody in the main field has seen the front runners, and George Hincapie, I don't think, has made it on this escape.
Well, it looks like he got caught out. Tom Bonen has got the bit between his teeth here this afternoon, because he is not even going to wait for the cobblestones, Phil. He has decided, I want this race. I'm going to race all the way to Roubaix here, and he goes out on the attack. Scrambling across the gap there is Fletcher, and Tom is going to have to slow down once again and wait and rethink the next move of the day.
Well, this is going to be an interesting section now. We're heading to some really rough patches at Paris-Roubaix as the riders cross the town of Orchy and head to the trail to the slaughterhouse, and Bonen has got himself right on the front in that blue and white jersey. Quick drink before we go back into hell.
Well, Heinrich Hausler is in this group. Just having a look there to see if that was Jeremy Hunt as well, who managed to get there. Some teams completely and utterly got caught up in that acceleration a few moments ago of Team Saxo Bank. Tom Bonen was not one of those riders. About a kilometre now to the next section of cobbles at Orchy. Juan Antonio Fletcher is in this group. Steve Kotzat, Phil, because of the fact that he was in that early morning breakaway, is still there in the orange helmet over on the left-hand side. He is riding at the front end of Paris-Roubaix for the United States.
Sector number 12 now. This is Orchy. It's a 3-star 1,700-metre journey, but it could be so crucial today now. There's so many riders scrambling behind to try and get back in touch.
Well, Cancellara there on the left-hand side. He knows this section of cobblestones. He's all of a sudden managed to get himself back to form at the right time. Sick and having to retire as the leader of the Amgen Tour of California on the first day on the open road. Went back to Switzerland and had a little problem when he went out training, and now all of a sudden he's got himself back to form at the right possible time.
Sector 12. Remember, there are a total of 27 here. And now Cervelo are driving at the front here too, just trying to get on terms here. The Rabobank rider is going off the back now. Not surprisingly, Jos Postuma losing ground. It looks like as though we've got Steve Kotzer also dropping back now. Not surprised, they've suddenly lifted this up to a new dimension.
Looks like Leif Hoster was just trying to ride across the gap there, Phil. He was one of the riders caught out in the acceleration, but he knows now is the time. If you want to get a victory in Paris-Roubaix, is not to give up and keep yourself in contact. I can see Johan van Sommeren dropping to the back of the group, and if he looks over his shoulder, he may well just see the shadow of his own teammate, and there he is, just about 10 seconds off the back.
He should rejoin inside 60 kilometres to the finish now. This is an insane race, to quote Bernard Hinault, the great winner of this event and the 5 times winner of the Tour de France. But it really is at this stage every man for himself.
Well, another man coming across here for Team Quickstep is their big, strong Sylvain Chavanel. Frederic Guedon is there as well, number 61. Also, Leif Hoster, number 41. The experienced men here of Paris-Roubaix, and sitting on the back, one of the most experienced, 101, Servais Knaven, riding this event for the 15th time.
And finished everyone and won it once, and he's tagged on there nicely. He was in the front group. He's just slipped to the tail of it now.
This is the section known as the road to the slaughterhouse, Le Chemin des Abattoirs, and it looks as if these men are starting to really cut deep into the meat.
Cervelo have the advantage. They are the ones now pushing the pace and just waiting to hear the clatter of metal behind as riders fall. 2 riders from Team Cervelo driving. They've got, numerically, they've got the advantage just now, along with the blue and white of Quickstep. It looks as though Servais Knaven might have cracked here.
Well, it's not surprising, Phil. He was one of the riders in that early morning breakaway. They put a lot of pressure into staying off the front end of the main field, and now he's paying for the early morning efforts.
Well, there'll be a regrouping when they'll assess who has come through this strongly. When they can, Tom Bonen again starts to drive as they continue to race. All of the rides together, bottles on offer here. Nobody now. They're so careful that now they've got to watch each other and make the best of it.
Well, this is an interesting move because
this isn't Tom Bone, is it?
It looks like this is Martin Winans coming across, and he's actually accelerated over the top, relayed there by Henrik Hausler, who looks back to see what sort of damage they're doing. This group has not yet managed to get themselves organized. Guédon is the man on the back, number 61. In front of him, 41, Leif Hoster. A little bit further up is Greg Henderson, probably looking over his shoulder to say, where is George Hincapie?
Sylvain Chavanel, number 2, was there as well, another who could yet be the winner of this race. And no sign of George Hincapie at the moment. There is a steady regrouping. It's not over yet. This race is now being spread out a little bit. Most of the pace being done at the moment by the Australian-German Heinrich Hausler.
Cyclism Sunday's coverage of Paris-Roubaix on Versus is brought to you by San Diego. Make your happy happen at sandiego.org. And by Snickers. Explore the planet Jupiter.
Well, everything is in its place, and I can't stop the smile on my face, 'cause I'm happy in this place. 1, 2, 3, so smile, smile on my friends. You're in a happy place, so smile, smile on my friends. Come on, smile, smile on my friends.
Make your happy happen at sandiego.org.
Soil would start to reform, trees would start to grow out of them.
After 1,000 years, there'd be very little evidence of the activities of man.
Witness the history we leave behind. Life After People, the series. Text LAP to history for more information. Standard text messaging rates may apply.
What gets you out running, walking, or doing what you really love to do? Let's rewind. You have your own motivations for being out there. Enjoy every second. The Boulder Running Company has what you need to make your experience even better. From free video gait analysis to a huge casual shoe selection to apparel and accessories. The Boulder Running Company. Boulder, Denver, Colorado Springs, and online at boulderrunningcompany.com.
If we all rode bikes instead of getting in the car every time we had to go someplace, we would all be healthier. If we all rode bikes instead of getting in the car every time we had to go someplace, our planet would be healthier. If you have a bike, we encourage you to use often, and our service department and accessories will keep you safe and up to date. If you don't have a bike, we have the selection, accessories, and knowledge to get you started in the right direction. We're Turin Bicycles. We've been part of Denver's cycling community since 1971. Turin Bicycles, northeast corner of Spear and Lincoln.
So pumped up? It's because the best of Sports Soup 09 is on the way. See a cowboy losing his head, a hippo losing his lunch, and a coach losing his marbles. Also, Shaq sings, Ovechkin sells cars, and a squirrel gets his revenge. You can't miss this one. The best of Sports Soup on Versus.
As we look now at the leaders, there's 15 riders come together. Sadly, no American here. George Hincapie hasn't made it, but Cancellara is here. Heinrich Hausler is here. Tom Bonen, the winner, in second place to keep an eye on the fares. It's Andreas Clear setting the pace. Thor Hushoft is in the group. So too is Chavanel.
This is a 5-star section of cobblestones at 3 kilometers in length, and look at the flags now starting to show the wind that is pushing these riders, buffeting these riders as they get closer and closer to Roubaix. It's a nasty section of cobbles here this afternoon as we have a quick look, and you can see there that I think we're going to have a little bit of respite for a while, Phil, because I'm not sure whether or not anybody is too keen on launching the attack after all of the viciousness we've had so far.
48 kilometers left to ride now, and it's the boys in black who are trying to use quite a numerical advantage here. as they can drive on these cobblestones. They're holding at a sensible speed here because they've now come down to the elite of the day. 15 riders, 48 kilometres or 30 miles still to go. The stadium now is packed here in Roubaix as they watch the action coming towards them. And it is Cervelo. We've seen them ride this sort of a race already last week in the Tour de Flanders, and they got it all wrong at the finish. What are they going to do today?
Well, you think the section of Mont-Saint-Pavel has finished.
George Hincapie leading the charge behind.
On the same section of cobblestones. Hincapie now trying to ride himself back into this race here this afternoon. He's not asking for any help. That looks like Roger Hammond over to the right-hand side. He's looking to find himself a minute to pull himself back into this race. He will not give up.
That is not impossible to bridge a 1 minute gap. And George Hincapie has got himself no friends here. One of the big favourites left to chase, split off in the crosswinds. He's got to close a minute. It is a big ask, let's face it, but it is possible.
All he needs really, Phil, is for a slight amount of tactical manoeuvring in that leading group of riders, and Hincapie can get himself across the gap. Look at the position of the man. Look at his body language. That is not the body language of a man who wants to give up. He doesn't want to surrender in Paris-Roubaix. It's such a special event.
But he's only got one teammate to help him here, and he's doing most of the work himself. He's so anxious to try and repair the damage. There's a big hole in the peloton between the front 15 and this very large group here, and they know Hincapie's reputation, and it looks as though they're not going to help him.
Well, he's the man who has missed out because of the fact he had a mechanical incident before that long section of road where there was a crosswind where Team Saxo Bank put the hammer down. George, I don't think, had managed to get himself back to the front end of the main field, and that, I think, is a little bit of bad luck. Yeah, you can see Clear setting the pace in front of Tom Bonen. Bonen has also been down in a crash because you can just see his shorts there on the left-hand side, a little bit dirty.
Well, as we're looking here now, we've got most of the names for you now. Tom Bonen, Sylvain Chavanel, Fabien Cancellara, Matti Breschel is here also, and Casper Klostergaard, Leif Hoster, Johan van Sommeren, Frédéric Guédon, Juan Antonio Fletcher, Quinziato, and the British rider Roger Hammond. They are some of the riders in this front group.
Bonen is going again. He's putting the hammer down on this next section of this Mont-Saint-Pavel cobblestone length. Behind him there is Pippo Pozzato. He has now decided that he's going to split this group. He's a man who has got a real dedication to win this Paris-Roubaix this afternoon. He's trying to do something special there. The man on the back there is Juan Antonio Fletcher. He wants to stay in contact too. That then in fourth position is Thor Hushovd.
But just look at the style of this man now. He just smashes on those pedals. He's broken the group again. He's pulling away 5 or 6 riders here as the door is opened.
The fifth rider in the line there is the man we mentioned just a few moments ago, Leif Hoste. He's been sitting at the back waiting to see when the effort needs to be made. I think he's just made a very serious effort.
1 minute the gap to the split containing George Hincapie, but the leaders themselves have now split under the impetus of the champion of Belgium. Well, he's not literally the champion at the moment, but he certainly rides like one, Tom Bonen.
Well, Pozzato, unlike last week, has decided, yes, I'm going to work with Tom Bonen here this afternoon, and we're going to damn everybody else to the back end of this main field. And this is a serious acceleration. Quinziato now, number 88, is being dropped from that group.
Well, that's proved a little bit of a cobblestone too far for Quinziato as he's cracked there under the impetus. We're still looking here at the riders chasing. This is the second group, and George Hincapie trying to bridge the gap here.
With the help there of Roger Hammond, one of the men in black from Team Cervelo test team. And I have to say, this is proving to be a very difficult section of cobblestones.
So we're watching the crowd here enact the situation now where we're seeing 5 riders trying to push themselves into the lead. 4 riders now, and there's a little bit of a bridge going on here as again Tom Bonen and Pozzato see the others about to rejoin, or do they?
For an easy and affordable portable storage and moving option, there's only one name: Sam. Sam Store and Move is perfect for moving into a new home, renovating your current one, or if you just need to get some things out of the way for a while. To save money when you self-move or store your things, visit getasam.com or call 1-800-GET-A-SAM today. Mention this ad and save $50 off your first month, now through May 31st.
This is your weekend? You serious?
Why are you in my yard?
Don't you want to get out there? I got hotels everywhere. Hit the road. Find some putt-putt courses. What about a pig roast? Demolition derby?
Okay.
Oh, night fishing.
Sure.
Man, there's all sorts of super destinations. You just gotta go. I'll feed you free breakfast.
Most people avoid extremes. Others can't wait to experience them. Introducing the all-new Ranger XP and Sportsman XP. The most power, the best all-wheel drive, the best suspension. Extreme performance for the most extreme terrain. They're the hardest working, smoothest riding off-road vehicles ever. See the 2009 XPs at your local Polaris dealer or visit PolarisXPEvent.com.
Living in Cramples Gap, there's really nothing much to do but work.
People work hard. Everybody's got to work hard. Got to survive. I think everybody needs a break.
And welcome to Las Vegas.
We're going to tear it up, dude. Drink some drinks, try and get some ladies, burn it down, leave ashes.
This is awesome.
This trip has been one of the best experiences of all time.
Here in Versus Country, the early bird catches a lot more than the worm. So, every weekend morning, rise and shine with Mike Iaconelli in City Limits Fishing.
And this is the kind of bass you catch, downtown D.C.
As he jump-starts the best lineup of hunting and fishing on TV. Catch him if you can. Welcome to Versus Country, every Saturday and Sunday morning starting at 7:30.
30 seconds is the gap now to the 6 leaders. Slowly but surely, Tom Bonin is stamping on these pedals. Every time he sees a cobblestone, he jumps on it. And we're at sector 8 now, and there is Bonin driving. He's never happier than when he's on the front, but he's got a big rival there in the Van Summeren just behind.
Well, also got a big rival in Pipo Pozzato, the man who followed him all over the roads of Flanders last weekend. I have a feeling, Phil, if I was to be Tom Bonin's team manager here this afternoon, I would actually try and calm Tom Bonin down a fraction, because if he uses too much of his energy, he could find himself in a bit of difficulty when we come to the next section of cobbles, or a couple of times to the Carrefour de l'Arbre, because he may well find the counter move coming from Pipo Pozzato.
He's got to be wary of Pozzato, and he's got to be wary of Leif Hoster too. This is the chase group, the Cancellara group we'll call it now, as they're on the same sector of cobbles. There's Quinziato. He was blown away from the big move, but he's going himself back into the chase. Guédon is there as well, Francais de Jeu, another man who's won this race, number 61.
Well, they're slowly pulling themselves back here because it's down to 25 seconds, and they've got to give everything they've got. They've got a lot of passengers in that group, Team Saxo Bank, and the reason for that is they are the team who have missed out this afternoon. Johan van Sommeren, man of the match for Team Silence Lotte. Whether he's riding for Leif Hoster or riding for Cadel Evans, he will give it the absolute and utter maximum.
He won the Tour of Poland, and that's the only race he's ever won as a pro, I think, and it's all because he just gives himself to his team leaders, whether it be the Tour de France or Paris-Roubaix, and he's riding at the front now for Leif Hoster.
Well, there's Pipo Pozzato, 161 there. Tom Bonin won't be too happy to have him in the group, because he's probably the most dangerous man in the group for Tom Bonin. I do think, though, one man who is extremely dangerous is Leif Hoster, because if they give him the chance of getting off the front end of this group, they might not see him again. And Juan Antonio Fletcher proving again, Phil, that he is one of the serious contenders in any of the cobbled classics.
Well, as the results will show you over the years, Spanish riders don't race well in these northern classics. They don't like the roads, they don't like the conditions, they don't like the food. They don't just like being back home in Spain. But this man is the total exception to the rule, along with Oscar Freire, sadly out with injury. But Fletcher always puts in a performance, and today is no surprise to see he's the last survivor of primarily a Dutch team.
Pozzato coming to the front. He dreams about winning Paris-Roubaix, and so too does Thor Hushoff. This is the group of George Hincapie at the Arrière de la Course. Hincapie riding at the front end of the group, and I feel a little bit sorry for Hincapie, because he actually was at a situation where when the race split to pieces, he was at the back of the pack.
Well, he's in a bunch of 20-odd riders there, and as you can see, there's 18-odd passengers, because it's just George on the front doing all of the work to try and put matters to rights. No one helping him. That's the lonely life of being a star, I guess.
Well, for George Hincapie as well, it's one of the final chances he's got of winning a Paris-Roubaix, and he won't give up until he's got himself right down to the velodrome here.
So, as the field regroups the situation, 6 riders are now heading off Sector 8. 7 sectors to go. They're trying to hold an advantage over the rest of the race of 25 seconds here.
What are you waiting for? All around the world, men with erectile dysfunction have asked their doctors about Cialis. Ask your doctor if a Cialis option is right for you. Because in addition to 36-hour Cialis, there's another dosing option. Cialis for daily use, a low-dose tablet you take every day, so you can be ready anytime the moment is right.
Tell your doctor about your medical condition and all medications, and ask if you're healthy enough for sexual activity. Don't take Cialis if you take nitrates for chest pain, as this may cause an unsafe drop in blood pressure. Don't drink alcohol in excess with Cialis. Side effects may include headache, upset stomach, delayed backache, or muscle ache. To avoid long-term injury, seek immediate medical help for an erection lasting more than 4 hours. If you have any sudden decrease or loss in hearing or vision, stop taking Cialis and call your doctor right away.
36-hour Cialis or Cialis for daily use. So when the moment is right, you can be ready.
May I help you?
Hi, I need to start saving on car insurance.
Money a bit tight?
Yeah, I've had to cut back, sell some stuff.
Like his watch.
Ah. We can help you save, because we instantly compare your Progressive Direct rate with rates from other top companies. Watch this. Nice savings.
This means I can buy my watch back.
Oh, this watch?
Yeah.
Not for sale.
That's cold.
Making sure you get a great deal. Now that's Progressive. Call or click today.
Monday through Friday, I call it work. On the weekends, I call it play.
More ASE top mechanics use Valvoline in their own cars.
Step in to an amazing selection of clothes, plus bags, accessories, and of course shoes, with fast free shipping and superior service.
Each day, your feet take a pounding, but now there's relief for tired, painful feet. New Gold Bond Pain Relieving Foot Cream penetrates deep with strong medicine to soothe and relieve pain fast. Gold Bond Pain Relieving Foot Cream. Serious relief for sore feet.
Want big pants? I lost 3 times more weight.
Get new Dexatrim Max Complex 7. 7 powerful weight loss ingredients combined to block hunger and burn fat. For 80% of your weight loss. Dexatrim Complex 7.
This is weight loss.
Searching for your next car? You gotta go to Vehix.com. You can find whatever car you want. 1.2 million vehicles. Over 1.2 million cars. Where else are you gonna go? You can search down to the specifics. The exact color, the exact price, the exact make, the exact model. Now that's searching. And if it's not there, they'll send you an email when it is. Dude, we got your car. Come pick it up.
Search over 1 million new and used vehicles for the car you want at Vehix.com, your online resource to find your ride. Watch Vehix video buying guides and test drives powered by Wheels TV on Comcast On Demand.
378,000 seconds in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Don't miss a single one. The second season begins Wednesday at 6:30 Eastern right here on Versus. 2 games a night, 7 nights a week, and Versus covers every crucial second. That's the 2009 Stanley Cup playoffs right here on Versus. We're now looking at the riders on Sector 6 here now, a 4-star sector, 26.5 kilometres to go. This little sector's 1,300 metres, and then we go on to an 1,100-metre stretch, all Sector 6. Now, if anybody is going to push home the advantage of the front 6, this is the place to do it.
And it's Juan Antonio Fletcher of Spain. Right behind him is Thor Hushovd in the black jersey of Cervelo Test Team. Juan Antonio Fletcher knows that he's got to crack Tom Bonen and Pipo Pozzato if he wants any chance of winning this bike race this afternoon, because although he's a great warrior from Spain, he's not the fastest man when it comes down to finishing on the track.
Well, he's really stamping on the pedals here now. The Flying of Flanders on the yellow flag there flies proudly. The gap to the chasers of 9 is 1:28. The gap to George Hincapie's group is now out to about 2.5 minutes. So I don't think there's any way back from that.
No, it's going to be a very difficult return to Roubaix for George Hincapie this afternoon and anybody else in that main field, because as far as I'm concerned, their chances have sadly gone out of the window. The winner from Paris-Roubaix theoretically will come from this leading group of 6, but at the moment, Phil, it could go any which way you like.
And we wouldn't wish it, but you know, this race can change its face around any corner here. The crowd have all moved, and what a crowd it is here now, and not a long way away from the finishing line as the crow flies. But the zigzags of Paris-Roubaix makes it 25.5 kilometres.
Buschoff keeping a very close eye at the front end of the main field. Sector 6, 1.3 kilometres, 4 stars at Sizouin to Borgel. And as you've said, a little bit of smooth section in the middle and then straight onto another 1.1 kilometre section. And this is the second group on the road. And I'd have to say, I think the firepower now has slightly disappeared from Team Saxo Bank.
Yeah, Matti Breschel leading Fabien Cancellara. They didn't look like the same riders. Here they are here. These are the poursuivants, the riders who are with the leaders, got split off. They're in a group of 9 riders, but they're not making any progress. In fact, to the contrary, they are losing ground, albeit a second at a time. Currently, 1:32 behind.
Well, for these men too, they won't give up. They will hope that something goes wrong in front at 25 kilometres to go now for the leaders. And
this is the little smooth section before we hit the cobbles again. Same sector 6. As we look at these boys now, they'll be happy with 30 kilometres now, right now, as they come on to another sector of cobblestones. But they're slowly but surely nosing the way ahead of the field as they set fair now for the stadium in Roubaix, a packed stadium which is totally mesmerised here in the stadium at the big screen, wondering just who or when will the move come. Hoster now has gone to the back of the group here.
This is the second part now, Phil, of section number 6 to go at Borgel to Ouanin, 1.1 kilometres. Not such a bad section of cobblestones. Leif Hoster sitting at the back. Just in front of him is Tom Bonen. Bonen, I think, has been given the order now by the team to calm it, my boy. Wait. We don't have to use all of our energy. You don't have to be the dominant factor. You don't have to split this race apart, because your chances are pretty high on the finishing velodrome. And a little push there by Leif Hoster saying to Tom Bonen, mate, you can ride in front of me.
Well, it's the long, lanky rider here of Johan van Summeren, who is one of the workhorses in the world of cycling, well known by Cadel Evans to help him in when he's in difficulty in the Tour de France. Now Hoster's relying on him here. He's got tremendous form. He's ridden the Tour de France 4 times. He's finished every one. He's a real workhorse.
And a great character for the team, and he's always on form throughout the season. He just loves banging his head at the front end of any group like this, and now he isn't even thinking about himself, and that's a strange thing to try and understand about many of these professional bike riders who work as team helpers. They get it into their mind that they will dish out the pain to everybody else in the hope of assisting their teammates.
The flags there indicating a pretty strong crosswind still blowing here, as Van Summeren, those long legs, just going around like the Moulin we've just seen. These are the riders that I'd worry very much about. Number 161 there, Pozzato. Just what is he thinking? Everybody's isolated now, and they're all trying to work out each other's tactics.
Well, Fletcher looked pretty good too, because Fletcher was ticking over the pedals very rapidly as they come off that section of cobblestones. Now just 5 remaining.
So 23 kilometres to go. We've got 6 riders in the lead. It's beginning to look as though these may be the ones fighting out the finish in Roubaix.
For years, man has known about the advantage of twin blades.
Smooth.
Now there's the twin blade advantage from Honda. Twin blades mean finer clippings when mulching to feed your lawn. They also mean more bagging capacity and less emptying. And of course, Honda means it's built to last. The twin blade advantage, exclusively on Honda mowers.
Just imagine being able to see your entire world in high definition.
The clarity is just unbelievable. That's what I'm seeing. Awesome clarity, man.
High definition, it's impeccable. It's gorgeous.
It's like, wow, there's no glare involved. It's crystal clear. They're amazing. HD quality.
They're talking about HD Vision Ultras, the brand new sunglasses that give you our trademark high definition, color, and clarity. Just like high definition revolutionized TV, HD Vision reduced glare and increased color and clarity like no other glasses you've ever worn.
These are amazing.
And these do the job. Everything just pops. It's incredible.
Other glasses just make things darker, but HD Vision lenses enhance colors, and they have great styling.
I got thumbs up from the wife. I'll take them.
I can see how blue the ocean is, the sky, every cloud. I mean, really, it's unbelievable. They're really very cool.
These sunglasses are just phenomenal.
We're introducing HD Vision Ultras at a truly breakthrough price. If you order direct, you can get HD Vision for just $19.99. Other sunglasses sell for $100, $200, even $300, and they don't have high definition lenses.
Wow, $19.99. You kidding me?
That's an awesome price.
I've got a $129 pair of sunglasses that are not this good. And that's the truth.
Plus, as a special bonus, when you buy one pair of HD Vision Ultras, we'll include a second pair for free. Just pay shipping and handling.
I can't believe it. Really?
$19.99?
How is that possible?
And every pair comes with our unconditional satisfaction guarantee. Enhance your vision with high definition color and clarity.
HD Ultras. They really are high definition.
Don't wait. Call now.
To order, have your credit card ready and call 1-800-675-7804. That's 1-800-675-7804. Don't delay. Call right now.
We're looking now at a move here. We've slipped down here as the riders are now trying to liven up the chase a little bit, because the last time check was almost 2 minutes, and we don't forget that we're now only 19 kilometers from the finish. The gap officially 1 minute and 50 seconds on this chase group.
Well, this is the face of Sylvain Chavanel trying to get himself across the gap, and I think he's seeing that disappear away from him because he hasn't managed to open up the gap, and he will stop the chase here now and leave the advantage to these men at the front, who have now come on to section number 5 to go. This is the section of cobbles at Quinfin-en-Pévèle. Once they get around the corner here, it starts to drag up slightly, and interesting to note that Boonen has slipped to the back of this group, maybe into a position where he can observe the way the other riders are handling it. And right behind him, his arch enemy and arch rival and former teammate Pipo Pozzato.
250 kilometers have been ridden now of this race. 240 kilometers rather have been ridden, which is 150 miles they've pedaled. It's taken them 6 hours. Many of us couldn't do that in a motor car, never mind over some of the worst roads in northern France, as we're now watching these riders try to pull it together. I'm just thinking, Paul, whether the big rivalry between Pozzato and Boonen might cost them both the win.
Well, Boonen said he was just going to ignore that. He put it down last week to the fact that he wasn't upset at all by Pozzato following around. He said, I just couldn't get rid of him. So maybe today he will try and get rid of him. Boonen, for me, is in an ideal situation here, Phil, because he's a great sprinter. He knows how to win the sprint on the track here. He has absolutely no reason to win alone, but he does have to be very attentive to make sure that somebody like Fletcher or Stein...
Leif Hoster
doesn't get off the front.
It's funny, it's an age thing, you know.
Oh, thank you. Well, I must be catching it off you.
Thank you very much. Here we are, 1,800 metres, the 4-star section of Quinfin-en-Pévèle now, as the riders will have to hit this hard, ride it hard. Anything can happen. What they don't want now is to hear that back tyre clatter on the rim, because they get the sort of puncture here, which is not something going in the tyre, it's a pinch. They call it a snake bite, because it's the rim bites the back of the inner tube of the tyre, and it makes two little impressions like a snake bite, and that's what they fear here.
Well, I think the way we're seeing these riders handle Quinfin-en-Pévèle would be an indication to me, Phil, that somebody is going to lay down the hammer on the Pavé de l'Arbre, which comes around about 2 kilometers after the end of this section.
18 to go.
Van Sommeren is absolutely sacrificing himself here this afternoon. He's doing all of the work for his man Leif Hoster. He's trying to set something up, and in fact I have a feeling that's where Leif Hoster, who's currently riding in 4th position there, will try and ride away from the pack. And why not the man from Spain sitting in 2nd wheel there, Juan Antonio Fletcher? He is dreaming of winning this bike race, as he has done for many years.
Well, Van Summeren, perhaps it's time to remind ourselves, Paul, finished 8th in Paris-Roubaix last year, so he knows the course. He's got his tail up now. That's by far his best ever finish. And if he stays with this breakaway, he'll improve by at least 2 places. But he's riding totally, as always, we have to admit, unselfishly. He's riding for Leif Hoster, who might well be planning his move on the next sector of 5 stars.
Well, Pozzato sitting at the back, looking at the rear wheel of Tom Boonen, just as he did 7 days ago in the Tour of Flanders. Well, Confin en Pavel is over and out. That's the end of section number 5.
4 sectors of pavé to go. As we see these riders clear, it's around 2 minutes the gap, and there goes a little bit of an attack from Fletcher. The gap officially at 1 minute 30, and now Fletcher is trying to stretch the breakaway.
Well, Fletcher waited until after they'd come off the cobblestones there in a hope of surprising anybody, but look how attentive Mr. Boonen from Belgium was. Straight across the gap onto the wheel of Juan Antonio Fletcher and Johan van Summeren. 2 kilometers to go now, Phil, to the Pavé de l'Arbre.
So the break has reformed 17 kilometers from the finish, and the chase group is not out of it yet.
Everything is in its place, and I can't stop the smile on my face, 'cause I'm happy in this place. 1, 2, 3, so smile, smile on my friends. You're in a happy place, so smile, smile on my friends. Come on, smile, smile on my friends.
Make your happy happen at sandiego.org.
We're off. Woo! Some smell funny, and it ain't the ponies. Floppy hats at 10 o'clock. Closest to the track, but farthest from reality. Excuse me, sir. Pardon me, ma'am. Good, honest beer at a tasty price is neck and neck with hoity-toity atmosphere. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. And y'all gonna find out today, because you're about to lose this highlight. Woo! Your head almost hit me in my face. We want to hand this out to the people really watching the race. It's a liberating landslide blowout victory for common sense.
Coming up on the best of Sports Soup 09, Shaq and Kobe, A-Rod, and a hippo dropping a deuce. It's gonna get messy.
The best of Sports Soup on...
Hi, I'm Chad Halleck, and with a Budget Blinds franchise, if you don't make at least $750,000 in sales in your first 3 years, we'll give you your initial franchise fee back. This is your opportunity to take advantage of our 15 years of success by opening a Budget Blinds home-based franchise. Become your own boss and take control of your financial future.
If you have $75,000 to invest, log on now and get your free information pack at 7freefranchisekit.com. That's 7freefranchisekit.com.
Searching for your next car? You gotta go to VHIX.com. You can find whatever car you want. 1.2 million vehicles. Over 1.2 million cars. Where else are you gonna go? You can search down to the specifics. The exact color, the exact price, the exact make, the exact model. Now that's searching. If it's not there, they'll send you an email when it is. Dude, we got your car. Come pick it up.
Search over 1 million new and used vehicles for the car you want at VHIX.com, your online resource to find your ride. Local dealer inventories are now searchable at VHIX.com on your mobile phone.
The teammate to the end here, Heinrich Hausler, he won't help him, but I'm a bit surprised Chavanel himself is trying to cross the gap. Unless he actually believes he can't reach the leaders, he won't want to take Hausler across and strengthen the support for Thor Hushovd and against his own man. Now what's gone? There's a crash there, completely overridden that one.
Fletcher and Leif Hoster have gone down there, filling that corner, and that was a wild corner going round there, going into the corner. There you can see Fletcher decked it straight over the top goes Leif Hoster. Johan van Summeren is there as well, but not involved in that crash at all was big Tom Boonen. Now Fletcher back up onto his bike, trying to get himself going again. These cobblestones are the cobblestones in this region we call the pavé bleu, the blue cobblestones, and they are blue and very, very shiny indeed, and that is why that man has gone down in the dry. They are treacherous.
Well, no sooner do you enter the Carrefour de l'Arbre and this happens here. I did say around every corner there is a problem. Hushovd himself himself really swung wide there, and it almost got him down as well. But that's why this race is officially not over till the man salutes the crowd in Roubaix. It can happen around any corner.
Well, I tell you what, I've seen those cobblestones. I've ridden those cobblestones. They are extremely scary. Leif Hoste now caught out in that accident. It wasn't his fault. It was, in fact, the man from Spain, Fletcher, who went down first, is trying to ride himself back into the event here. That looks like Pippo Pozzato riding across the gap, but at the front, it's now taking up the pressure with Tom Bonen and Thor Hushovd. The three men behind are trying to scramble back into Paris-Roubaix.
Well, they're on the Carrefour de l'Arbre now. 5 stars, vicious enough, but you saw how it had a bite in it there. And now Hushovd, who almost fell, recovered well. And the God of Thunders raced up behind Tom Bonen. But I'll tell you what, when Tom Bonen hit the front here, there was an enormous cheer in the stadium in Roubaix.
Well, the Hushovd has gone down
and Hushovd has crashed as well.
This is the Pavé de l'Arbre. That's what it's all about. It is a defining moment, this section of cobblestones. He went round there a little bit too wide, straight into the barriers, and he now is down, and he will have gone down right in front of Pippo Pozzato. Pozzato is trying to get across to Tom Bonen. Bonen does not need to attack in a race like this, Phil, but now he is on his own. He's got to take all of the risks, and I think there are no French people in the crowd here this afternoon. They must all be Flemish.
Well, there's been oohs and ahs and cheers, and now Tom Bonen is free to fly. Those big legs can pump on the pedals, and it's 15 kilometres and a bit more to go to the finish. But I would think that Hushovd will be up as fast as he can, and the strength at hand, because the others are still chasing from the previous crash.
And not too far behind was Pippo Pozzato. Here is Pippo Pozzato now trying to get himself up to the wheel of Tom Bonen. He's trying to get all of the Flandrians out of the way.
He's
here looking through the cloud to see what is the difference between myself and Big Tommeke.
Tom Bonen, he's the pin-up boy of Belgian sport, not just Belgian cycling here. And he's now pushing on through an incredible crowd. And look at the Belgian flags. These are the flags of Flanders here. These people speak Flemish, not French. And they're looking at a Flemish rider burst forth.
The gap is not very much. It's not much more, Phil, than 5 or 6 seconds to Pippo Pozzato. He wasn't involved in that crash. He managed to get around it. He was delayed by it. Bonen around the corner now. He's got a section of smooth road for around about 50 metres. Then it's a left-hand turn, and he'll have to go right the way across the rest of the Pavé de l'Arbre, the cobblestones of Gruzon.
It's a bizarre pursuit across the roads of northern France on Easter Sunday now. Bonen, Pozzato, Hushovd. There's no daylight, or there is daylight between them all. There's no way they can help each other now. It is simply their strength that will get them out of this mess.
Well, poor old Juan Antonio Fletcher, he was the man who attacked before the Pavé de l'Arbre, and when he went onto it, he was unable to keep his bicycle upright. Now the little groups are starting to form. This is the second part of the Pavé de l'Arbre, and this is Gruzon. And Tom Bonen knows he's got to lay down the law now. He knows that not very far behind him is Pippo Pozzato, but he's done what he couldn't do last week in the Tour of Flanders. He's put a gap between himself and the Italian, and he has to consolidate.
And he made a friend of the Queen of the Classics to do it now. She took everybody out. 14 kilometres to go. Pozzato in pursuit of Tom Bonen. They were once on the same team. They would once have helped each other. Now they both want to win this great race.
Well, this is going to be a pursuit all the way to the finish. 14.5 kilometres of racing. Johan van Summeren now sacrificing himself once again for Leif Hoste, who is in his wheel, and of course they're dragging along for the party Thor Hushovd. The race situation is Tom Bonen at 10 seconds, Pippo Pozzato, and a little bit further back you've got that group of 3, and already, Phil, at 1 minute and 5 seconds, Juan Antonio Fletcher.
Oh, and that's not what you do. You do not run out in front of some of the greatest bike riders in the world here just to get a better view. They've had enough problems of their own today. This is the chaser, Filippo Pozzato, another popular personage in the world of cycling anyway, stage winner in the Tour de France. He's now trying to close the gap to Bonen.
Well, Bonen is off the end of the cobblestones, and in a couple of seconds' time, so too will be Pippo Pozzato as we go a bit further back down the road. This is the chase group of Sylvain Chavanel starting that same section of cobbles. So Chavanel is probably looking at 1 minute and 45 seconds to his team leader, Bonen.
And he's not even worried about catching him now. He's racing for himself now. Chavanel, he's been given his head. He's towing along with him at the moment. Heinrich Hausler. Heinrich himself must know by now, because of the race radios, that Hushoff has fallen and is in trouble. He is trying to get back with Fletcher and Hoster to the leaders.
Well, there are 2 sections of cobblestones left, and one of them really is not that complicated for the riders. It's the one from Willems to Emmen. That's a section of cobblestones at 1.4 kilometers in length, but it still is going to be a massive pursuit at the front of the bike race. Sylvain Chavanel there is looking to pull himself back in to what will be his best ever performance in Paris-Roubaix.
So the leaders are now spread across the cobblestones of northern France. It's looking at the moment, it's advantage Bonin.
I'll get it. Thanks.
Light, fluffy Three Musketeers has 45% less fat. Enjoy it shamelessly. Also available in mint.
FreeCreditReport.com. Tell your friends, tell your dad, tell your mom. Never mind, they've been singing our songs since we first showed up with our pirate hats on. If you're not into fake sword fights, pointy slippers and green wool tights, take a tip from a knight who knows. FreeCreditReport.com. Offer applies with enrollment and triple advantage.
When we first bought the house, the lawn was nothing but brown. So I called my father-in-law. He's really good with the lawn. He knows exactly what to do.
Well, I told him to use Scott's Turf Builder. And he said, well, I got this stuff. I took it, threw it in the garbage. Cheaper brands have filler, sand, gravel, stuff you don't want on your lawn. Scott's Turf Builder is pure food. Every granule is 100% nutrition. You get what you pay for every time. See what happens, Chris, when you listen to your father-in-law? He's getting the hang of it now.
I still think I got the better lawn.
Me. I don't care what he says.
All food, no filler. That's the Scott's advantage.
Every fighter deals with fear. It starts before you even leave the locker room. In the tunnel, it gets worse. Your heart starts beating to the rhythm of the fans. It's a long walk to that cage. And once you get there, you realize you still have to face me. What do I fear? I'll let you know when I find it.
No Fear Energy.
For an easy and affordable portable storage and moving option, there's only one name, Sam. Sam Store and Move is perfect for moving into a new home, renovating your current one, or if you just need to get some things out of the way for a while. To save money when you self-move or store your things, visit getasam.com or call 1-800-GET-A-SAM today. Mention this ad and save $50 off your first month, now through May 31st.
How much sugar is in these energy drinks? Let's find out. While waiting, you should know. 5-Hour Energy contains 0 sugar and only 4 calories. Its blend of B vitamins and amino acids can help you feel awake, alert, and productive for hours without the crash or jitters. The answer is 12. Over 12 teaspoons of sugar and 200 calories in these energy drinks. 0 sugar and 4 calories in 5-Hour Energy. There's a reason people choose 5-Hour Energy 2.5 million times a week. 5-Hour Energy. Hours of energy now, no crash later.
Oh, a massive pile up here. Somebody has touched the wheel.
There's another crash at the back. These crashes are coming thick and fast here this afternoon.
There's a crash there.
Fletcher and Leif Hoster have gone down. Well, the Hushoff has gone down as well.
Has crashed as well.
This is the Pavé de l'Arbre.
So there's the split, and it's 16 seconds now. On the right is Filippo Pozzato trying to get on terms with Tom Bonin, but Bonin is just holding it now, and the 3 chasers, Hushoff, Van Summer and Hoster, are at 49.
This is the section of Emmen. I remember many years ago, I think 1983, Henny Kuiper almost lost his victory in Paris-Roubaix when he was in a similar situation to this. He flicked across the road from left to right, and his back tyre popped off the wheel, and then all of a sudden he was standing at the side of the road. Let's hope that doesn't happen to Tom Bonin here this afternoon. Is putting in one of the most impressive performances I've witnessed for a man who's made his reputation as one of the top sprinters in the world.
Well, by my reckoning, this will be Tom Bonin's 100th victory of his career, which started in 2002. What a sweet way to spend Easter Sunday now in France, with Belgium just over the road. He's just leaving on those pedals now. He's got nothing left in those legs except determination.
When you're in a situation like this at 7 kilometers to go and you can see a 3rd victory in the Queen of the Classics ahead of you, you can push the pain barrier a little bit further ahead, a little bit further further all of the time, because you know that this pain is a sweet pain. It's a pain that could bring you a great victory, and for me this will be one of the most dramatic victories that Tom Bonan has got if he can get to Roubaix ahead of this man, number 2 on the road, wearing 161, Pipo Pozzato. And isn't that ironic that he is a former teammate?
It is indeed, and Pozzato racing even so to his finest ever finish, if it's to be second here. Little bit of a problem for Van Sommeren now. He's been such a sterling workhorse for Hoster, who is managing to hang on to Torhushoft here. They are racing for 3rd position at the moment. No Norwegian has ever been on the podium in this race, and Hushoft is trying for 3rd right now, ahead of Hoster, who has never finished in the top 3 either.
Well, Hushoft getting a second win there, and probably a final belief that he can pull himself back into this bike race, and if he can get to Tom Bonan and get onto the podium, get onto the velodrome here, anything can happen. Whoa, as Bonan goes around that corner there, he's taking all of the risks. He knows every time he slows down in one of these corners, he could lose himself a second or more. This is the end of sector 2 to go of 1,400 metres, and that is the section of M. There's only one more section of cobbles left, Phil, and I have to say, as you said a little bit earlier, it's somewhat ornamental.
Yes, they're ceremonial, those cobbles, and it will be ceremonial if Bonan reaches them here. This is Pozzato flying the flag for the new team, Katusha, as he comes onto the sector of cobbles at the end as well. But this is still a one-on-one fight, and there's no room for a problem for Tom Bonan or for Pozzato, because the boys behind would snap them up as easy as that.
Well, the television is telling us 18 seconds. The race referee is telling me 15 seconds. It is still very close indeed. Pozzato has got to keep his morale right up there now, a little bit further back. Hoster, who was in difficulty a few moments ago, has fought himself back into some kind of form here, and that's the way Paris-Roubaix is. It's up and down. It's lose and fight back, and that's what's happening to this man here. He's starting to ride himself back into the race. Still ploughing a lonely furrow, though, is the man who's created his career as a sprinter on his own, Tom Bonan.
Tom continues to ride here to get his 3rd victory. He's now heading to the stadium. There's still 6 kilometres to go. He knows now, though, if he doesn't have a problem, he'll run out the winner. Well, there's just time for one more break, and when we come back, the crowd right here in the velodrome will explode for the big finish. Stay with us.
What the new day brings. Days in, the best value under the sun.
Ground control. We have a problem. Switching to lithium power.
I feel better already.
Energizer Ultimate Lithium, the world's longest lasting AA battery and high-tech devices. Energizer, keep going.
Fastest accelerating, most agile side-by-side in the world. The Red Hot Ranger Razor. Nothing else comes close. Razor sharp performance. See it up close at your local Polaris Ranger dealer.
Vickery Motorsports has done it again. Get on a new 07 Yamaha TTR 125L for $19 a month. This bike features a 4-stroke motor, lightweight and low seat. Originally $24.95, now $18.95. It's the perfect starter bike. Vickery is only one of 5 Yamaha dealers nationally with Yamaha's highest customer satisfaction rating. Vickery Motorsports, 2231 South Parker Road at Isla. See store for financing details.
From an epic time comes an epic tale of an epic hero with epic insecurities.
First of all, this is not my sword. My sword is huge. It's way bigger than his.
This April, Comedy Central is shedding a dim light.
Can I pull this off?
On the Dark Ages.
The resistance rests in your hands. I weep at the prospect.
Oh, snap. Guys.
Crod Mandoon and the Flaming Sword of Fire. An epic series. Thursdays at 10 on Comedy Central.
So pumped up? It's because the best of Sports Soup 09 is on the way. See a cowboy losing his head, a hippo losing his lunch, and a coach losing his marbles. Also, Shaq sings, Ovechkin sells cars, and a squirrel gets his revenge. You can't miss this one. The best of Sports Soup on Versus.
Cyclism Sunday's coverage of Paris-Roubaix on Versus is brought to you by Snickers. Debate the theory of nougativity.
We are looking down now on the figure of Filippo Pozzato here, 27 seconds behind Tom Bonen, and two riders chasing Pozzato. His second place is not safe, but I feel as though Bonen's first place is.
3 kilometers to go for Tom Bonen, now wearing number 1 on his back. He's almost got to the top of the Côte d'M, the climb of M, which isn't really a climb in itself, but it's a very nasty false flat after 259 kilometers in the saddle. Bonen now starting to pick it up once again. He would be very happy to be able to read that line in French, tête de la course, the head of the bike race. And now he's away from M and he's on the flat now. The next thing he will be seeing, Phil, in about a kilometer's time is a final ornamental section of cobblestones in the city of Roubaix, and then it will be the Flamme Rouge, and then the stadium packed with Flemish supporters will receive their champion.
You bet your life. They're all standing up here watching the big screen now. It's a packed house in Roubaix. The only classic that finishes on a banked velodrome left in the world, and now it is a Belgian cyclist, Tom Bonen, again, who is heading down towards the finishing line. And I don't think anybody's going to get him either, and when he does get there, he'll be the 53rd Belgian rider to win this race. Not quite two, it'll be the 53rd time the country has won this race, and for him, it'll be his third.
Well, for him, it will be a glorious victory as well to ride around here completely and utterly on your own. He now knows he's got 30 seconds. Tornado Tom Frietjes, the big sign at the road, the side of the road there. That for the Belgians. The Belgians are very well renowned for their Frietjes. The distance between Tom Bonen and this second, third group on the road is now, Phil, gone to the 1 minute and 2 second mark. Thor Hushovd may have dreamed of winning Paris-Roubaix this afternoon, but the Pavé de l'Arbre, the Carrefour de l'Arbre, had something special to say about this race once again.
It's been a great race. It's been a great race by the riders who have hit this front and torn each other to shreds with a little help from the cobblestones. There's the switch. We now go down the centre of the road. These are the ceremonial cobbles, and they're just at 0.3 of a kilometre, 300 metres. Then we'll turn right into the stadium. Then we'll stop talking while you listen to the roar.
Well, Bonen is about to come off that 300-metre section of ornamental cobblestones right in the very heart of the city of Roubaix. Ranked only a 1-star, but for Tom Bonen this afternoon, Phil, this is a 5-star entrance into the velodrome. And listen to the crowd. He's not even here yet.
He makes his way to the gate. There's no more cobbles in this year's Queen of the Classics. She's done her best to ruin it again for some, and she's succeeded. But not for this man. As he heads into the stadium now, Tom Bonen is about to start 1.5 laps of honour. As he swings onto the velodrome, he'll keep low in the bowl and he'll race round to the bell, and it must be the best sound in world cycling.
Well, I have to say, Tom Bonen started this race as the outright favourite for the victory this afternoon. There was nobody given as many stars to win this bike race as Tom Bonen was, but it is so difficult when you're the #1 favourite to come up with the goods, because everybody makes their race on you. But this afternoon, Tom Bonen has raced against himself or against the cobblestones, and I think this is a very happy Belgian bike rider.
Well, he's riding down the back straight. Pozzato is not in yet. As he comes round, he can wave to everybody. He could almost shake the hands of Pozzato because he's just entering the stadium as Tom goes back past the gate. But now it's all over as he comes into the home straight. Tom Bonen will win this race for a 3rd time and the 2nd year back-to-back. He's sprinting even to show off his true colours as he comes home now, and just joining the track is Filippo Pozzato, the former world champion. Now I have 3 wins. Next year he could join Roger de Vlaming as a 4-time winner. There's Pozzato.
Pozzato still has a lap to go. Tom Bonen made a phenomenal chase over the last few kilometres. Congratulations from an ex-teammate there. Pozzato will run out in 2nd place for Italy here this afternoon, but how very much he was hoping that it was going to be 1st.
The other 3 riders are also on the track, but they're just half a lap behind behind Pozzato. They're not going to damage him at all. He knows it now. The job is done out on the course. He's coming round. The average speed, 41 kilometers an hour over roads like that. 6 hours and 15 minutes they've been riding. Filippo Pozzato, the best ever finish for him in Paris-Roubaix. And he was beaten by a stronger man on the day, but he's a very, very worthy second-place rider.
Well, also on the track now, on the far side, I can see Johan van Summeren is leading out the sprint for Thor Hushovd, and then third place there is Leif Hoster. It should really be a formality for the God of Thunder to get himself onto the podium, because he is the fastest sprinter of these three.
Well, he'll have to watch Leif Hoster, but Thor Hushovd is a very strong finisher. But again, the Belgians are inspired here in sight of their own country. But Thor Hushovd becomes the first Norwegian ever to step up on the podium here in Paris-Roubaix. So Hushovd has crossed the line third. Hoster is in fourth place, and Van Summeren an excellent fifth place, his highest ever finish in this classic. What an extraordinary race it has been today. And Fletcher, who got laid low by the crash out on the cobblestones, will have to be content with sixth place this time around. This great Spanish cyclist who can mix it with the best of the Northern Europeans. As he goes down the track, a rather lonely and solitary figure here, but even so, sixth place and no sign of anybody else coming into the stadium right now. But the next two in should be Heinrich Hausler and also Sebastian Chavanel. Already the crowds are mobbing Tom Bonen down there in the centre as the others proudly applaud the arrival of Fletcher here into sixth place. 2 minutes 13 seconds, his time gap in the end. As we look again at Tom Bonen. This is Tom Bonen now just kicking once more, inspired by the fact he was being drawn to the finish, turning on the show for the crowd here as he wins Paris-Roubaix for a third time. This one, I think, though, far and away his best ever win. He was aggressive throughout, and in the end, he had to do it his way because he had no teammates left to help him. So Bonen takes the flag back home to Belgium as a three-time winner of Paris-Roubaix. The riders he joins, by the way, are Museo, Lapitz, Van Looy, Eddy Merckx and Francesca Moser. There's the welcome he received on arrival. That's round the back straight of the stadium here in Roubaix, which, apart from a couple of occasions, has always provided us with the finish line for this event. And I make it his 100th victory of his career today. Confirmation of the result then, a win for Tom Bonen, 6¼ hours today, 47 seconds Pozzato, a minute 17 to Hushovd and Hoster. Then comes Van Summeren, his best ever finish. Fletcher in sixth. Heinrich Hausler gets seventh at 3:13. Sylvain Chavanel is in eighth place at 3:15. Quinziato and Brechel completing the top 10 at 5:29. So there they are, the three of them on the podium. The cobblestone being gripped, almost hugged there by Tom Bonen, as a man who's now won it 3 times. On the right, as we look, the third place Thor Hushovd of Norway. And on the left, looks a little bit upset with himself, I suspect. Disappointed, perhaps, Filippo Pozzato, but he shouldn't be. He was beaten, I think, by the best rider in the race today. There's no lucky winner, of course, of this event. There really isn't. All right, well, down there in the track centre now is Paul Sherwen. He's left my side, and he's found the winner today, Tom Bonen. Paul.
You had a lot of pressure on you this week because I think all of Belgium wanted you to win this. Now you can relax a bit.
Yeah. No, really happy. When I arrived here, I was so empty. But I made it, and I had to fight for every second. The last 15 kilometers was another small rider behind me with Pozzato, and especially in the beginning when it was 10 seconds, he could almost touch me, and it was a big battle today.
Did you think that was a big risk, in fact, trying to ride alone from the Pavé de l'Arbre all the way to the finish with a man like Pozzato just behind?
It was the right moment. It's all about the instinct, and I felt it was the right moment. And I think if I would have waited on the other guys to come back, and I was 2 teammates, and nobody wants to ride with me to the finish line, and we saw it last week. So the only solution is to go alone.
Now you've won Paris-Roubaix 3 times. Which was the most enjoyable?
Today was the hardest. I think think they're all, every year you say it's this is one of the nicest, and I will see you just say today too, but I think they're all equal, but today was the hardest one of the three.
Unfortunately today, George Hincapie, after that bad luck, he finished well down the field. He was in a group around about 6 minutes back, and it was a large peloton, and he finished right at the back, had no interest in a finish in that bunch.
George, again, it seems as if Lady Luck wasn't on your side in Paris-Roubaix.
Yeah, no, I was flattered at the worst possible moment. It's just a mirror image of last year. Actually thought I would be okay because there was a feed zone coming up, but CSC went to the front and made it to five groups, which or Saxo Bank, I'm sorry, which I don't think was the best tactic because they didn't have anybody in the first guys at the end. I think it was just a waste of energy. They were all back there, and you know, so it's just not a great day for me.
Despite the fact that it's a mad race and a crazy race, and you're getting a bit older in your career, do you still want to come back here and have another crack?
I can't end it like this. I thought about it with 20K to go, and there's just no way I'm going out like this. I got to come back and give it one more shot.
Thanks, Paul. Be sure to join us when the epic cycle continues on Versus on April the 26th at 3 Eastern, and note the time. It's two of the great Ardennes classics. The world's best cyclists will take on Liège-Bastogne-Liège, and we will also have highlights from the Flèche-sur-Wallonne, which is another Ardennes speciality. For a complete schedule too, don't forget, log on to our website, versus.com. You'll also find bonus interviews and features and the latest articles from Bob Rowe, who will also give his views on the latest Lance Armstrong controversy. Well, congratulations to now 3-time winner of Paris-Roubaix, Tom Bonen. Until the next time, for Paul Sherwen, I'm Phil Liggett saying goodbye for now from France.